Welcome back, folks. Sport Federation TV. We carry on talking to our member federations in the Western Cape. Now, as you would have seen over the last while, equestrian sports is one of the big codes in South Africa. Some of the codes within equestrian sports, in fact, goes to the Olympics and have world championships. A really big sport code that has multiple disciplines within the sport code structure. And one of the components of that is, of course, endurance riding. But we've got the athletes representative from Western Cape Equestrian Sport on the line with us now, Naomi Muller. Naomi, it's fantastic to have you on the show. How are things with you?
Thanks, JP. I'm great. Lovely talking to you.
It's one of those times that, of course, it's difficult times at the moment, but nevertheless, we're getting the picture that you guys, as equestrian sport, you've stayed positive. You've been communicating with your athletes, and everybody has been in reasonably good spirits up until now.
Absolutely. You know, I'm amazed how people have been innovative and really trying to stay connected and you know, encourage each other. I know, for instance, in showing, the guys have started a virtual competition. Yes. You know, showing is really about showing off the horse and the confirmation and the connection and that the rider has with the horse. Yeah. And the presentation and that. So that could actually be done by taking photographs and taking videos. And then they had 3 different judges throughout the country, judges that participated in this. And at the end of the competition, they sent in all their photographs and the videos, and they were actually then judged according to that.
Now, your speciality is endurance riding.
Yes.
I went onto your website and I had a bit of a browse there. You've got to explain to me, what is endurance riding? We normally think of endurance runners who run the comrades and things like that. What is endurance riding?
Okay, so endurance is really a competition over a distance, and it's with one horse, and it's normally distances of 80, 120 or 160 kilometers. You compete with a horse. You start and you have to it takes place in a what do you call it, a clover track. So you've got like 30 or 40 kilometers per leg, and every time you come back to the venue where you started, you have to pass a vet gate, and you can only enter the vetting area once your horse's pulse is below 64 beats per minute. Mm. So the competition is really about the person who finishes, first and foremost, sound. The horse must be sound, and secondly, the fastest. So the aim is to build your horse up and to get your horse as fit as possible to complete the 80 or the 120 or the 160 the fastest.
What does the athlete need to do to prepare for an event like that? I'm assuming you must be quite fit.
Yes, I can tell you, you can go to gym and you can run and you can do all sorts of exercises, but it's a different thing to get fit on a horse. Yeah. The only way that you can actually get fit is by riding. So you do your distances every day. Remember, the horse becomes like an athlete. So you can't stop for 2 days and then just start training again, because then your horse gets azoturia, which is like a tying up. So you need to it becomes quite technical. You need to manage the horse and really the feeding of it. It becomes really a complicated story then.
Are there a lot of people in South Africa doing endurance riding?
Yes, the sport has been growing up until, I would say, really fast until about 2 years ago. And then we've actually hit a really troubled time when, you know, with the whole transitional sport, and not everybody was accepting it too well. And now again, the FEI rules have really changed and has made it even more challenging for us. But you know, we've always managed to send riders for the past 15 years. We've managed to send riders to World Equestrian Games or to World Championships. I've been privileged to take part in 5 World Championships in the past 10 years. So, you know, we always try and find a way to do it, because we've got African horse sickness, and it's very difficult and very expensive to get our horses abroad.
From a competitive point of view, how do we do? How do we do when we go overseas? Can we compete? Do we get results?
Well, I think in the Olympics we have dressage, jumping, and eventing. And I think we've actually got riders that live overseas because it's just not worth their while to stay here and go and compete overseas. And I think they're actually doing very well. We often get very good results back.
Yeah.
As far as endurance is concerned, we can only do the World Champs at the World Equestrian Games, and we have personally, I have ended up 17th in the world with a World Championship. So it is possible, you know. It's very difficult, but where there's a way, waar daar weg is daar wil. And if you get it, if you know, it's just a bit costly for us, but it is possible if you want to do that.
The other thing that we want to ask you about is you are the athletes representative for athletes in the Western Cape. What does that mean? And is that, I would imagine it's athletes out there, and if they've got a concern, they knock on your door and say, I need some help, because they can't necessarily or don't necessarily want to approach somebody else. Is that what you do? You engage with the athletes and you look after their problems?
Absolutely. I want to tell you, with the transformation of sport, it's crucial, and we are actually achieving it very much, I believe, in the Western Cape, maybe more so in the Western Cape than any other province, is to actually to make the sport available, to make equestrian available for people on all levels, and from all walks of life. We've got clubs in every in each of the 7 districts that we have. So we are really making it available for everybody to take part in equestrian. And it's really, you know, we have an absolute, we are athlete friendly. So we have an open door, and if people have problems and they don't understand, you know, how the new constitution works or whatever, what their opportunities are, we are really open and making a lot of effort to try and inform them and to help them.
Naomi, tell us a little about some of the young talent coming through. I'm assuming that that there are a lot of athletes that are maybe going to follow in your footsteps and go overseas to the World Champs and hopefully have as much success as you. Do we have talent here in the Western Cape?
Absolutely, we do. And I'm 100% for it, that we should keep the opportunities for those athletes open and make it possible for them to be able to go and compete and represent South Africa, to have proper Protea colors, and to really have the opportunity to do that.
That's fantastic. Of course, at the moment it's locked down. We're not quite there yet with getting back on the track, so to speak, or in your case maybe in the paddock or on the course or on the field. But looking forward, looking over the next foreseeable future, what would have been the big competitions or big tournaments for you guys?
Well, we normally have a national championships once a year. That is held once a year, and then we've also got the championships for a different kind of endurance, which is called. It's just the 380s over 3 days. It's traditional. It's more a traditional ride. But it's very well supported at Forest Smith. So we have the national championships and that. And this year, unfortunately, you know, that will not happen. But we are very excited because we can actually start competitions. We are having our first competition in August, and we're planning how to do it. It's a bit of a challenge with not being able to have more than 50 horses or 50 people, excluding the grooms. But we're gonna make a way. We're gonna find a way to do that.
That sounds fantastic. Naomi, we're going to leave it at that, and we're going to say to you guys, of course, you must remember, stay safe out there, follow all the health and safety protocols, and we look forward to catching up with you again soon so that we can find out more about your horses and your athletes and your different sport codes and how you're doing as equestrian sport. So we look forward to chatting to you again soon.
Thanks, JP. It was lovely chatting to you.
There we go, folks. Naomi Muller, she's of course the athletes representative at the Western Cape Equestrian Federation, but a champion in her own right, of course, in the field of endurance riding. And we're looking forward to finding out a lot more about endurance riding and showing and show jumping and all the different codes that are out there in the Equestrian Federation.